Hi Flosstube, it's Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher. Today is February 23rd, 22nd, 21st. It's Sunday. I don't know which day it is. This is Flosstube 63. I hope you're having a good day. It's been a little bit since I did my 3-part WIP parade. I was recovering for a while from that. So I've got some stuff on my table in front of me, but it's not as much as last time, for sure, right? And I had a lot of great feedback from those videos, the 3-part WIP parade. It was a huge commitment if you watched them all, a huge commitment. But what I thought was interesting is the Memorabilia parade. I had twice as many comments on that. And I think it just told me that I may need to spend more time on my memorabilias. So I sort of have to get those integrated into my plans. Let's see. So since I last talked with you, I sewed bags one week and I had a bag sale. I sell them on my Instagram page, Kindred Stitcher Designs. They go very fast. And I'm sorry if you get there and they're gone. I mean, they go within seconds of me posting them. So my best advice, if you want to try and get a bag, is I will usually preview what I'm selling before I sell it. I don't have a regular schedule of when I'm selling bags. I'll try to let you know in my Insta stories on my regular Instagram page at Kindred Stitcher. Then I'll also put it on my Insta story at Kindred Stitcher Designs. And then as I get closer to the weekend, I'll usually add to that Insta story and tell you when I'm going to post the bags so that you can be ready. So that's time consuming though. I'm telling you, I've got more bags cut out and my craft room is just a disaster. When I started doing bag sales, you know it, because it's hard to even, there's piles of fabric everywhere and batting, everything. So I also went down and saw my mother-in-law one weekend. She lives on the coast in Oregon in the house that my husband grew up in. With COVID, I mean, for people who live alone and don't work outside the house, it's difficult. We've only seen her once in the past year. In fact, I didn't see her at all at Christmas or Thanksgiving because of COVID, and having, college-age kids come home, I just couldn't risk exposing her. So my husband went ice fishing with some guys up north, sort of near our property, and they had a great time, and I was available. So I hadn't gone anywhere for more than 2 weeks. So I went ahead and went down and saw her, spent the weekend with her. So not a lot of stitching. We played a lot of cards. We played cribbage, and she killed me. I mean, at least I got skunked twice, and the cards just weren't coming. But we had a good time. It was nice visiting. Work. So I work in insurance, and with the power outages, it affected our ability to work online. And so this last week, I had a couple of days of low productivity at work, but a lot of kind of empty space. I did some stitching, but honestly, you're sitting there waiting, right, for the system to open up. So there's a lot of getting busy and sitting around and waiting. And so what that means is that that work doesn't stop coming in. You can't get to it right away. So we ended up having to work overtime yesterday and today. I'm salaried, so it's free work for me. I get to, that's part of the pleasure of being in leadership. But it's a great company. I'm grateful to be working, even though we have bumps along the way. So that's what's been going on. I have been stitching. So I either stitch like a mad woman or I'm not stitching at all. So let me just show you what I've been working on. And then I also want to talk to you a little bit about some plans that I have. I don't have any fully finished objects, other than I have 3 things that are at the framer. One is Winter Rose Manor, and Julie from Reflections Framing and Stitching framed it. It's a gorgeous frame. I can't wait to get it. She shipped it just before all the weather hit, so it's not here yet. I was getting an update, it'll be delivered tomorrow, and then it just dumped 14 inches of snow here. And it was snowing in the Midwest. So it's sitting in a container somewhere waiting to be scanned in. It's priority mail, so hopefully it gets here pretty soon. I imagine it'll come this week. I've been to the post office a couple times knocking on their door, and just being patient though and understanding the situation. I just don't want it to get lost. I'm sure it'll get here. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it'll get here. And what else? So I sent Halloween at Hollyberry Farm out to Patty Nicolosi. Patty is active in the Prim Stitcher Society Facebook group, and she has done a lot of framing for people who post in that group. That's where I got her name. I reached out to her through, I think, Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and sent that to her. She was super easy to work with. Gave me lots of ideas for frames, and then I chose one. Gary from the Sunshine Stitchers, he's working on it. He was inspired by the finish that I had. So thank you, Gary, for showing that on your guys' last video. That was fantastic. And then the last one is Garden Party by Mirabilia. I sent this to Jill Rensel. Jill Rensel's out of Utah, and she's the one that, if you watch my Mirabilia parade, or if you see my videos where I showed the Mirabilias and I've had her frame, they do, Amber from her shop does hand-painted mats, and they're just, I mean, you guys, and it's expensive. I'm just going to say, you can't, I don't send many, like one a year is about it, because they're very special. Nobody does anything like it. It's gorgeous. But it's expensive, right? So you get what you pay for. And I just saved, I had a bag sale so I could pay for, you know, the framing. So anyway, so no other finishes. And so here are the WIPs that I have been working on. I can't find my board that I used to put behind my stitch pieces, so it is what it is. I worked on Hoity Toity. Actually, I was working on an Andale. Let me show you that one first. Andale, I did cruise along quite a bit on. This is Andale. It's by Shakespeare's Peddler. It's so pretty, such a pretty design. Andale, Big and Beautiful, 1827. Teresa has updated this. She has it in her shop, and Shakespeare's Peddler, Kitten Stitchers, Shakespeare's Peddler. She sells this pattern. You can buy it from local needlework shops. And there's also a section called Part of Andale. I think it's just this bottom band here. And I'm stitching this on 40 count vintage patina by Lakeside. Last time I had the top row and I think these two motifs. And so I've worked my way down and I'm onto the third row. And this is how big this one is. It's huge. She's a big girl. I think I measured it was like 18 by 26 or something crazy on 40 count. I'm going to come a little bit closer and show you the bands going from my right to my left. It's just like little bits of candy. It's so gorgeous. I love it so much. I call these chandelier trees because they do look like chandeliers. And the colors are like, this is, these are all over dyed cotton, so they're called for. This is Cranberry by, I think it's Gentle Arts. This is also Gentle Art Hollyberry. There's a lot of, what other reds are in here? There's Adobe, which is sort of a blush color. There is a lot of Caramel Corn, which is this yellowish color. I substituted the light pink for a silk, a coral silk by, I think it's a Belsois silk. I did the over one. Did I change the color on that? No, I didn't. This is the call for color. I can't remember what it is. All the over one is done, and I just absolutely love working on this. But as I was working along and sort of making small goals for myself, and that's sort of how I approach my stitching. I think I've mentioned that in a previous video when I was doing the blonde brunette rotation. I look at my stitching plan for the week, understanding that there's flexibility and sometimes things completely change, right? That I will say, okay, so maybe this week I'm trying to get through the third row on Andale, and then I will switch to another project. Even though I'm loving Andale, I do it so that when I come back, I'm remembering how much I loved Andale, right? And these fantastic threads. Oh, please. These fantastic threads. I should have a blooper reel. They're so gorgeous. And then when I come back, I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember how much I love working on Ann Dale. However, I was really thinking a lot about Hoity Toity. And this is a long dog sampler. I finished this week this bird, this cluster of motifs, and this side border. So I was really stitching heavily this week. I was up till midnight at least every night because I loved stitching on it. These are all the called for DMCs. And this is on 40 count pecan butter by Lakeside. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'll have to go back and look at my notes. I didn't quite have it wide enough to fit on my 11 by 17 Q-snap, so I added some fabric on the side. That's the only reason why you see this fabric on here. I'm not going to use it in framing or anything like that. Simply to make it so that I could work on my frame easier. But this, oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. So I worked on Hoity Toity. I do want to work on Sarah Chapel. I need to map out how I'm going to alter the top part. I also realized that I have a frame I bought from Hobby Lobby out of the clearance section that, had I not cut my fabric, would have fit my Sarah Chapel perfectly. But you can't cry over spilled milk, right? What's done is done. Moving on. And what else do we have? Oh, I have a start. I am sort of thinking about, and a lot, this is Hoity Toity. Here's the picture of it when it's done. It's a lot lighter. The DMCs show up a lot lighter than in the digitized picture. But I've been thinking about some smalls that I have, and I have piles of things that are on my sooner rather than later list, and I haven't been starting them, so I'm just like, I need to start some of the sooner rather than later. So here's when I started. I started Flower Sampler. This is by Severosa. She's on Etsy. Let me come up a little bit closer. Isn't that pretty? It's a vase of flowers. I'm in. Well, it has this Greek key, let me put it on the back here, design on the bottom of the top, and that is so much fun to stitch. This is Cinnabar by WIPS. And I'm stitching it on 40 count navy bean. What I hope to do, because it'll probably be, I don't know, 4 by 6, I think. I might frame it, but I also might make like an overstuffed flat pillow. That doesn't make sense. A pillow that you kind of really get it nice and full with sawdust and then press down. That's what I'm thinking about doing. We'll see. I don't know. I have my pile of things to be finished is growing at a huge pace. Here's the threads that go with that particular design. So the picture showed them a little bit brighter. This is certainly a more mute color palette. It's going to be pretty. The next one I also have by Severosa is Harriet Hunt Sewing Pouch. I might actually sew this pouch or something similar. Lori from Mischievous Stitches made a drawstring bag. And so when I looked at that, I thought, I think she talked about that in her video. There might be like a tutorial. And there are, these are some pretty colors. These are all weeks. You can see the aqua. I haven't untwisted it and cut it yet, but there's the color palette. And I have this on 40 count platinum. Also, again, not that big. So these smalls are a good way to use up the ends of fat quarters or fat halves that I cut off when I stitch a sampler. So this should be not a real big bag. There's not a huge amount of, I think there's like an inch on each side that's available, but I'll make a drawstring bag out of that. So that's exciting. I think I'll start that one today. Another one I'm going to start today, this has been on my sooner rather than later for probably a year now, is Rachel Holmes by Heartstring Samplery. This is such a pretty sampler. I saw this, I think I saw this one at Acorns and Threads. I think I saw it stitched there. I'm going to stitch this on, this is 40 count parchment by Weeks. It's on the Zweigart base. I haven't done all my thread prep yet, but you can see that sort of the the pinks and the blues and the golds and the greens. It's going to be very pretty. I think I'll start this one today as well. I got plans. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And then one more new start. No, one of 3 new starts. Marjorie Massey. This is Quaker. And this is sold by Kitten Stitcher. I think Marjorie Massey is in Europe. I don't know if it's, I don't know if she's Italy or France. I don't think she's in England. But I love this little pattern. I just think this is so charming. So I have some silks for you, a hank of their black silk. And I like their black silk has a lot of movement. You can see some highs and some lows in there. And I have 40 count vintage straw flower by Lakeside that I'm going to stitch it on. It's a little blowing out a little bit. But this is a real, I love this color. It's a light neutral, but it's bright. It's not dull at all. So that one I might start. I'm going to start everything. So if you put a few stitches in, then it's easy to pick it up and go. Okay, so now here's my master plan. I watched 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. Jen and her mom, I die when I watch it. Now they're much more, they've adjusted their plans so it's not quite as crazy as it was at the beginning, but I remember watching the recap of the first one. I was laughing so hard I was crying. But I have been watching, they stitched Consider the Lilies on their last 24-hour cross stitch. I think they both stitched it. That's the only thing they stitched on. And it inspired me to think about, and I got both of these from Acorns and Threads, the booklets. This is His Eyes on the Sparrow. This is the first one, and then this is Consider the Lilies, which is the second one. But I ordered 28 count mushroom Lagana, and I coffee tea dyed it. I just dunked it, and it's very lightly dried in the oven. And I didn't dry it completely in the oven. I just wanted to knock it down just a little bit from the color it was. And I didn't want a lot of marks from the being in the oven. So this is going, now you say, oh, this isn't very big. I'm stitching it over 1 on 28 count. And I know that Beth said that she has seen that stitch 28 count over 1. I think I might even been on Mushroom Lagana. I'm not sure. I have just a few threads that I had to order. The rest of them I still need to pull. But my approach with this is going to be, I'm going to stitch a motif a day on both of these. And so motif might be like this and a little bit of the vine. It might be that berry basket. It might be this little bird, right? Or Adam or Eve or the house. So I'll have to be strategic because I'm not going to stitch the house before work on Monday, right? I'm going to probably stitch that one on Saturday or Sunday. But I will, if I do that, if I worked it out, I kind of did a rough ball count, a rough estimate of the motifs on here. I counted, and now I might have been off 1 or 2. But if I work on 1 a day, I should get both of these done in 6 months-ish. So I can do that. I can do that, right? Pick it up, 1 little motif, 1 big motif. I think that's going to work out pretty good. And I'm excited for that. So those are my sooner rather than later plans. Now, I've also been thinking ahead to, oh, by the way, I've been using this book from Suzette, the Primitive Stitcher. She has sold these in the past. I haven't seen any recently, but these are amazing. I am terrible at the book of days, writing stuff down, but I am trying to be better at doing things like when I start something and when I finish it. And like for Garden Party series, I have my layout in here. I just tuck it in there. Here's one that was May All Your Dreams Come True by Heartstring Samplery. This was with our Pacific Northwest Stitcher Summit. And some of the goodies that came with it, I just tucked in here for fun. I have little fabric cards for the things I'm working on. And this clamp with the little needle charm on it, it's fun. Keeps it all tight in there. I love it. So keep your eye out for that. I think she sells them on Etsy. You might message her too on Instagram. I'll see if I can find it and link it below. So that's sort of what I've been using when I start things. So I've been looking ahead at Stitch Mania, what I want to do. And last year I did all patriotic and I loved it, you guys. It was totally something that I enjoyed a lot. This year I was thinking about doing the same. But I'm not sure I'm going to start 31 projects. Like I started 31 last year and I finished like, I don't know, 7 of them maybe. They're smalls. And so I have a lot that I'll probably work on those this Stitch Mania, but I do have some that I'm going to start and they're not smalls. They're not smalls. So this is what I'm thinking about. Heritage Sampler and a new constellation by Plum Street. So these two. I think there's a third one that's out or was released in Australia maybe that's coming out at a retreat. I don't know. John and Abigail. I think Paulette does an amazing job with patriotic stitches. Somersault boxes. Stars and Stripes. Battle Hymn of the Republic by Little House Needleworks. Basket of Summertime. That's what we need right now, not a basket of wintertime. This one I was supposed to start last year and I didn't get it started. Sweet Land of Liberty. And I think I'm just going to stitch the center of this. Swanky Sim from Instagram, she worked on hers and did it. And what I might do is just take this border and replicate it on the bottom and this do this section. That's sort of what I'm thinking of for that one. And then Liberty's Welcome. No reason why I shouldn't start this one. I mean, come on. That's sort of what I have in mind for Stitch Mania. And I might, so when I finish Andale, seriously, when I finish Andale and Sarah Chapel and maybe Hoity Toity, what I think I'll do is I'm going to go through my Stitch Mania WIPS from last year. I'm going to put them in order and I'll probably integrate them into like a rotation where I'm stitching on them to finish some of them, or at least advance some of them because I haven't paid a lot of attention since like last summer. Haven't worked on them. So, and they're fun. I tell you, I love all my WIPs. So a little bit about haul. Valerie from Stitching in the Barn showed this. I love fractors. I love Teresa Kogut's approach to doing them and integrating them into cross stitch or into her paintings. I love the watercolor look of them. Valerie showed this and I immediately went out and bought it because I was like, I have to have that book. And I just love looking at the pictures. You could just Google fractor and I mean, oh, I love it. So thanks for the influence on that one, Valerie. Somebody else showed this one. This is a GGR. Who worked on this one? I can't remember. Somebody finished this one. Anne Oriol, and the rest is in French, by GGR. This looks like an altar sampler or something that involves a lot of motifs that are religious in nature, and that's beautiful. Beautiful. So I love that. Then Olivia B. got me going down a rabbit hole. Exemplars from the Heart. These are out of print, but I think some of these are at I got some of these from Cecilia's Samplers, and I got a couple from Juliet Reflections Framing and Stitching. Agnes Angels Among Us. Agnes, Angels Among Us. Isn't that pretty? Sort of reminds me of Frances Eden. So I got that one. And I think these are I believe out of print. Exemplars from the Heart, Exemplar Dames are the same company. Here is Exemplars from the Heart. Now this one, I love this one. The Blessing, and it's autumn. It's autumnal, right? I'm gonna change some of the threads because it's very stripy, and the color families or the colors may have changed on some of these, but I may just, it's fun. It's kooky. I really like that one. I'm not sure when I'll start it, but. And this one, Dame's Boarding School. I want to say, is Stephanie from Lindy Stitches doing this one? And this is Exemplar Dames. So it's the same company, but they had a different name at one point. And then I got this one. This is one of those. Oh no, it's got a good Ziploc bag. This I picked up from Country Sampler, and it is, the name is Fingerwork, but it is Elizabeth Toledo, and she's the one that has the, she's not Lady Dot, she's the other, does a lot of finishing trims. Anyway, is that not gorgeous? Look at that. Elizabeth Sevier, 1841 sampler by Fingerwork. Beautiful. Got that from Country Sampler. What else? Holy cow. I didn't think I had that much, but I'm still talking. Let me look at my agenda here. Oh, some shout outs. So here's some shout outs for you. Molly Sensible Stitcher. Now I watched her a few weeks ago. She's pretty new, and I remember thinking, oh, I really like her content, and I like her, what she stitches. So if you like the type of stuff that I like, you would like her. Becca from Sambry Stitches. She just did her, I think, 40th or 50th Flosstube with an interview, and that is Scott from Spain. So y'all probably know Becca from Sambry Stitches. She's a local to me person too. So, and when I say local, within an hour, that's local. Stitching with the Sisterlies, Colleen and Cheryl. Colleen is moving back to Washington. Welcome back home, Colleen. And I don't know what those two are going to do being apart from each other, but if you haven't watched them, they are a traveling roadshow. They're hilarious. They do a lot of quilting, probably more quilting than stitching, but they're just, I listen to them and I just crack up. Raspberry Stitcher. Oh, what was her name? I don't remember. I thought I wrote all these down. I guess I didn't. Raspberry Stitcher. She has a lot of samplers. So if you're a sampler person, check her out. Raspberry Stitcher. And then I watched Amy, Miss Flossie. She works at the attic now. She was at a retreat, and then she and Jean hit it off, and Jean hired Amy, and that was a smart decision. Amy is a lot of fun. She talked a little bit about, maybe not her most current video, but the one before, about a girls' weekend that they had, and they did some sort of scavenger hunt. It was funny. I liked listening to her. And then a new to me person, A Mom and Her Car. This is Eva, and she's new to Flosstube, and she just finished Sew by Row by Lori Holt. It's beautiful too. She did a nice job. So those are shout outs for this video. I don't always do them. Sometimes I'm a little more prepared than others, but you know, you get what you get. I have a giveaway, and I was cleaning out and organizing my charts. I just took chipboard and cut it down and used my label maker. I was coming in here to, I don't know, do something completely different. And I started looking for a pattern, and I got frustrated. And so I got my label maker out and I used chipboard. So now, don't you love that? Somebody goes, it looks like a store in there. It's like, yes. I did on this one. Let's see. Well, you can't see these down here. These. I have 3 of these, you guys. I know. It's a sickness. Anyway, it's my retirement planning that I got going on. But I did that. I did some organizational stuff when I was in here one day. And I was looking through my designs by designer, and that's how I have them organized. Somebody asked, am I the only one who does it by theme, like Christmas, seasonal, whatever, you know? And I started doing it that way, and then I changed it. I just really my preference is by designer. You might like it differently. Everybody does what's right for them. But I love organization. And this time of year, I just want to like swamp everything out. And I found some duplicates, so I'm going to give away some stuff. Or some charts I'm just not going to get to. So here we go. The first one is Hands-On Design, Liberty. Talk about patriotic. If you would like this chart, I'm going to give these away. I'm going to announce the winners on the next video. Write Liberty in your comment if you would like that one. The next one, I had two of these. I liked it so much I bought it twice. This is Blackbird Fractor. I told you I like fractors, right? Just write Fractor, and this is how you spell it. F-A-R-A-K-T-U-R. Fractor, if you would like that, to win that one. The next one is, I think I showed this in my Whip Parade video, Mermaid. This is Mermaid of Atlantis. I have this as a kit, and I have it as a pattern separately. So if you would like Mermaid of Atlantis, just write Mermaid in your comments. I have a piece of 12 by 18 Lakeside pear. It's not vintage pear, it's pear. This is why I started a Good Company by the Scarlet House on it and decided I did not want to stitch on this fabric. The only thing you're going to get is a piece of fabric, but if you'd like a piece of Lakeside for free, just write fabric in your comment. And I have a stack of samplers, band samplers. This is Red Flower Sampler. And these are all vintage-ish type of samplers from my stash. If you would like, I'm not going to show you all, it's a surprise. If you would like the samplers, and there are, I think, 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had a moment of panic. I thought that my video was lost, and it wasn't. So, it just cut out on me because I had used too much storage. The last one, so if you would like the band samplers, there's 8 of them. Just say sampler. The samplers, make it plural. S-A-M-P-L-E-R-S. Then the last one is a cricket collection. This is with this adorable, these bunny designs. So if you would like the Easter bunny cricket collection, just write bunny in your comment. That's it. That's all I have for today. I hope you're safe wherever you are, and that you're having a good time, and that you're not too adversely affected by the weather. I will talk with you again in about 2 weeks, and the giveaway will be in 2 weeks. Please be a subscriber. You have to be over 18, and please don't write giveaway in your comments. Other than that, good luck, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.